So on this channel, I've stated in the past that I'm a fan of Sailor Moon. It was one of the earliest anime I've ever seen since I was a wee lass. The art style of anime was something I've barely witnessed back in the day, so it was new and refreshing to me. The story and characters were basically a feminine version of Power Rangers, but still it was overall a guilty pleasure of enjoyment in my youthful days. So when I found out that not only the original Sailor Moon manga was being re-released by Codename with a more faithful translation to the original Japanese version, its predecessor Sailor V was also going to be released side to side. And yeah, I was pretty damn giddy. Sailor Venus was my second favorite character among the scouts next to Jupiter, and I was aware that she had a history of being known as Sailor V instead of Sailor Venus, but I never read up on what it was like and how it set the groundwork for its successor. Codename Sailor V is a 2-volume magical girl action comedy, and while it was only 16 chapters altogether and is a prequel slash side story to Sailor Moon, in Japan the chapters got released sporadically from 1991 to 1997, almost the same time frame Sailor Moon's manga originally started and finished. The series tells the tale of a 13-year-old middle school girl by the name of Minako Aino, who one day encountered a talking white cat with a crescent-shaped bald spot on his forehead and tells her that she is destined to be a champion of justice, for she is the reincarnation of the goddess Venus. So as a champion who fights for justice, she uses her magical pen to transform into Sailor V to fight the evil that plagues Tokyo. However, it's not a duty that Minako is 100% dedicated to. Even though she's physically adept and has great athletic skills, her test skills are below average, she eats like crazy, she's pretty damn boy crazy, somewhat of a slacker, and she often gets addicted to video games. All these traits are pretty unhero-like, and it kinda annoys the hell out of Artemis. That's the name of the talking white cat, by the way. I gotta say, after knowing this much about Minako from the start, she really isn't that different from her successor Usagi at all, except she's not really much of a crybaby, as compared to Usagi, so that was pretty interesting. Because of this, the series is very light and comical in tone, almost to a point where it feels more like a parody of the magical girls genre as opposed to being an actual magical girl series. However, near the end of the series where it finally bridges the gap between this and the Sailor Moon continuity, it does get pretty dark and dramatic. And I haven't mentioned this before, but Codename Sailor V was originally supposed to be somewhat of a standalone that Naoko Takeuchi was working on, until Toei execs saw what she did and got her to rework the series so it will last longer, make it more Sentai themed, and it just basically turned into the Sailor Moon anime slash manga fans know about today. I want to talk a little bit about Sailor V's costume. It's pretty cool looking. It's a traditional blue and red sailor uniform, much like Sailor Moon's, but her top appears to look like some sort of armor. I don't know if it is that, but kind of has an armor-like look to it. And she also wears a red mask over her eyes. Kind of a shame she would eventually drop the look for her orange Venus attire. As for the character Artemis, he's pretty much a male version of Luna. Oh, wait, since he was actually created before Luna, well, his role is very similar to Luna's in the anime. He's a very serious mascot character who believes that Minako should act more hero-like, including studying, training, not cheating, or abusing her newfound powers. However, Minako just does it anyways and it annoys the hell out of him, like I mentioned before. Now, Codename Sailor V does have a handful amount of supporting characters like Minako's friend Hikaru, who kind of bears a resemblance to Ami from the successor series, a geeky otaku classmate Amino, who also looks like a supporting character from Sailor Moon, Umino, Minako's parents, who actually don't get a whole lot of page time really. Some of these characters are okay, they play their parts fine, but the only two I really want to mention are Toshio Wakagi and Natsuno Sakurada. Wakagi is a police detective that hates Sailor V because he's that archetype police officer that hates vigilantes for giving cops a bad name. Yeah, in Sailor V's spare time, she actually arrested random sorts of street criminals on occasion whenever a threat caused by a non-human was going on. And I actually do like those kind of cop characters. They're always fun. I always get a good chuckle out of them, and he was no exception. As for Sakurada, who kinda looks like Rei, there seems to be a pattern with that. She's the Inspector General and Wakaki's superior officer, and she has a complete opposite feeling about Sailor V. She actually obsesses over her, almost in a kinda lesbian way sometimes, and she actually wants V to join the police force. Sakurada even has a huge scroll Sailor V hidden in her office. The villains in Sailor V are the Dark Agency, and their villainous plots are similar to that of the Dark Kingdoms in the first season of Sailor Moon. They find some way to steal energy from a mass of human beings and or enslave them at the same time. They do this through various means, such as having their personal pop idols hypnotize their audiences, release an evil video game that causes violent behavior, or take them on a vacation to Hawaii. No, really, that was one of the villain's schemes. The Dark Agency is led by Dambarite, whose identity is not revealed until the very end of the series, and the rest of the agency are just disposable monsters of the week, most of them female, that get taken down in the same chapter they debuted in. Before I continue with the art, I want to mention some other parts I enjoyed, besides the characters and lighthearted tone. One of the other things I really enjoyed was how the Sailor V arcade game came to be. For those who are familiar with Sailor Moon, there was this arcade game of Sailor V that Usagi and her friends played at the Game Center, which is also a common location in Sailor V as well. You actually see how that game came to be and why it exists, and I found that to be both funny and really cool. I also liked how they managed to place cameos of the other Sailor Guardians throughout the entire manga, and I did spot some various nods to other Henshin Hero shows, and there was even a nod or two to Cutie Honey, such as her introduction motto at one point, and the fact that she makes various disguises with her magic. Now, the art and stories done by Naoko Takeuchi. The art style is very similar to early Sailor Moon. It's pretty simplistic and cutesy looking like most shoujo manga. However, since it's a re-release of something that existed back in the 90s, it also gave off a nostalgic feel for me as well, since I really do like the art style of Sailor Moon. And like I said, since this is a more lighthearted comedy, or at least most of it was, it has those classic exaggerated expressions that they used to do from time to time, such as the swirly eyes, the overblown mouth, all that stuff. Something that I don't see in a whole lot of anime nowadays, and I really miss it. Now, the action sequences, while they're nice to look at, they're actually pretty short in the chapters. They mostly last around like 5 pages or so. Sailor V doesn't mess around. She does a few physical attacks followed by her crescent beam attack. Boom! Monster's done. That really doesn't bug me at all. Probably because it actually makes her kind of an effective hero. More so than Sailor Moon in her early days, now to think about it, because in the anime, every time she encountered a monster, Tuxedo Max would often come to her aid, and then she would finish off the monster. But not Sailor V. No, she ain't no coward. I'll give her that much. So overall, as a Sailor Moon fan, Codename Sailor V was an entertaining read as well as an insight of the draft work that would help create Sailor Moon. I recommend this if you're looking to read something that's pretty entertaining. It's only 2 volumes about $10 per volume, US American dollars. So it's like what, about over $20 slightly? I would also recommend this to people who are fans of the Sailor Moon anime. If you have yet to check out the manga of this, or even Sailor Moon, I would still recommend this along with Sailor Moon so far. To be fair, I have yet to complete the first volume of Sailor Moon. I've read about half of it. I know I'm way behind, I'm sorry. But for what I'm reading, it is very, very different from the anime. But the enjoyment experience is about the same. And before I sign off, because I'm pretty sure somebody in the comment section is going to ask me this, but I am aware that the Sailor Moon 20th anniversary project got delayed. It was supposed to be coming out this summer, but it won't. I'm not sure when it's coming out, and while I shouldn't be surprised that it got delayed because no information was released ever since I made that fucking huge ass podcast, I'm still kind of bummed out because that's just one less thing to watch during this 2013 year of anime. But oh well, I have patience. I have faith that it will eventually come out, and hopefully it'll be worth my time. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the postponing of the Sailor Moon anime. So now I'm done with everything. Leave a comment if you wish. Darkscream217 signing out.